This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets! This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets!
Yo, horrible, horrible, horrible.
I think they're doing it on purpose, man. I swear they are to get
It's
to the
about the money.
technology.
It's all
Office
about
ready.
office. It's all about the money. They're trying to dial up the drama. They're trying to get the sports betting. It's across every sport. It's across the NBA, even the NHL. There was a game a couple nights ago that I was watching in the NHL. It was the Ranger game. Peter, you saw this. Lindgren gets pulled down in the corner, no call.
Oh yeah, against the Islanders, and then they
and
scored.
it leads
Yeah,
to
I was
a
at that
last
game.
second.
I was at that game.
And it leads to a lot. These referees, there's just been terrible. Don't even get me started with Major League Baseball's the umpiring.
Well, yeah, they were bad. Bobby, hold on one second. Hey, Ron,
Yep.
come up.
Aaron, what up, brother?
Yo, what's up, PDG? How y'all doing, man?
Morning.
What's
Now,
good with you?
what's up? What's up? Now, I just want to ask y'all. So, Browns just released Quentin Jefferson yesterday. How y'all feel about maybe bringing him back?
Yes, all for it.
I,
It
I'm
doesn't
sure.
cost you no
Yeah,
doesn't cost you no draft capital or anything. Get
and
them.
the and they could do. I think if they did add somebody, today's the day to add somebody.
Yeah. So, do we have to wait for him to come off waivers to scoop him up, or can we
Maybe.
just go and get him
I'm
right
not.
now?
Maybe I don't know because he's a veteran like that. So I don't know if he has to. That's a good question.
Yeah, like I said, I saw that yesterday, so I was kind of curious what y'all thought. But yeah, I'm gonna drop back down to listening. Thanks for bringing me up again, PD. Appreciate it.
You're good. C Webb. Who do the Giants have this week?
Aren't my Giants on the bye week this week?
Oh, they might be
Because what week we are? What, week 9 or week 10?
10.
Week 10.
Usually, I think the Giants normally the Giants are like a week 7 bye week, but I think this year they got pushed back to like at this point in the year for their bye week. I'm not 100% sure. That's something somebody would have to look up. I think the Giants might be on bye week this week.
Speaking of the Giants, I'm gonna tell you something. I love that Reds. Well, I can't call them Reds. I love that Commanders move.
Hey, I like Malik Neighbors, kid. The kid's very, very good. I just hope we get him a quarterback that can actually throw him the football on target.
Yeah, it's nothing like having an elite wide receiver and don't have a quarterback to get him the ball. Petey.
Oh, Petey, no, June. I'm a diehard Giants fan, born and raised, Big Blue, my whole life. But when the Giants re-signed Jones, I called what was going to happen. And
I did too.
oh, June, I got chased out of a couple Giants Giants groups because they're like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Go back to the Viking game. Look at it." I'm like, he didn't win that game. It was the kicker." And I go, "You go look at the Eagles game. He regressed. Literally, first drive, he throws an interception. Don't
Pete,
tell
the
him he
Giants are
didn't.
playing in Germany on Sunday
That's what I was
morning.
getting
Oh,
ready to say.
against the
Oh,
Panthers. That's right.
why was I thinking they were on bye week?
That's right, Dom.
They're
Thank
in
you.
Germany.
Good
Oh,
morning, Caleb.
they better get their wiener schnitzels. They better be eating those
Good
wiener
morning.
schnitzels. Good morning.
Congratulations, like I just said before.
Thank you.
Looking good and a wonderful move. I like that move. Lattimore is oof.
Is that Miss Kayla speaking?
Yes.
You can.
I can barely hear her. She's so soft spoken.
Is this better?
Good morning, Miss Kayla.
Good morning.
Did you just wake up too?
Oh, I've been up for a while. I haven't actually been asleep because I'm gonna be asleep soon. But yeah, I'm happy with the move. We haven't like in the past. We've always been sellers. Like last year, we got rid of Sweat and Young, and then like we've been needing a corner because Juice is not a cornerback one in this NFL. Like good size. But he's not a cornerback one. We've seen that for years. This is last year of his contract. They've been playing Mikey Sanders still outside, which is good, but that's not where his bread and butter is, which is inside. And Noah's been balling out in the slot, so I don't know how they're going to, but they have some different ways to mix that up. Um, but I'm happy Juice is not a cornerback one no more.
Now let me ask you this question. If last year I told you you're gonna get rid of Sweat, you're gonna get rid of Chase, you're gonna get rid of Dotson, and you'll be in first place, would you believe that?
Absolutely not.
It's crazy. Once again, once you find a quarterback, it's amazing how much
The
everything
best
else.
part about it is that our offensive line has been amazing this year. Like I've never, like all off season, people kept telling me that we got because we hired Bobby Johnson as our coach. Well, he's not. It's just not just him. They hired the person who coached Osiris Torrance. He's on that staff as well. They got people to accompany them, And like the
Mm.
offensive line has been balling. Like we only have one player from offensive line from last season. Everybody else is new, starting. Like, and they're actually doing really good. Like we pretty much Miles Garrett ain't do nothing against us. Dexter Lawrence didn't do nothing against us. Brian Burns didn't do nothing against us. Trey Henderson hasn't done anything against this offensive line. Well, last year we was getting up sacks all the time. So all we do with pay. It's just good to see. Like it's just really good to see. Like that's the only thing I really wanted was offensive line. Like, and for us to get a start, like Brandon Coleman, this week was his first start because this whole season they've been switching him and Cornelius Lucas back and forth reps. Like they've been interchanging them like between reps to keep both of them fresh, and they still been good. But this is Coleman's third round pick. First start, he ain't allowed no pressures, no sacks against a Brian Burns. Like that, that's just like you don't always gotta find a good lineman in the first round, even though they do have them. Like, but that's one thing I was pretty much happy about our offensive line so far.
And then you got was his name Eckler?
You know, we got actually
Oh,
four running backs. We got Chris Rodriguez, we got Eckler, we got McNichols, we got Brian Robinson. Yeah, that could all produce. That has all produced this year.
man, what a difference a year make when you find a quarterback, Petey.
Yep.
Most important part, Petey, find that quarterback.
You find that quarterback and you find the center that the quarterback can basically read his mind and get the two wide receivers on the corners that can, know where he's going to drop the football makes a total difference, right, June?
It makes a total difference, man. It's a
We got
quarterback
we got
league,
Tyler
man.
Theodis as our center from Dallas, like, and I can see the difference from them from last year and this year without him. So
It's
Because when you get a center that has dog in him and he's the nastiest guy out there, you're going to win up front. You want the
yeah.
nastiest man out there, the meanest dog in the kennel. Put him up front. Washington's got a nasty guy there. He can play. That center's good.
So
I'm
does
still
The
concerned about our
Baltimore.
run defense
Commanders,
though. Like I'm still concerned about our
So
run
does
defense.
Baltimore office. Good morning,
Oh
Caleb.
yeah, don't come at our guy. He's going to protect Lamar with his life. You know what I mean? He's going to get mean and nasty. You seen the one Bradley Bozeman? He protected his guy when the guy tried to snap his leg.
Mm.
Remember, he nailed him. The guy was yanking on his leg. I don't know what the hell team that was, but yeah, that makes a huge difference. Huge difference.
ooh, excuse me, sorry, had a yawn come on all of a sudden. Jesus, but
Damn,
yeah.
bro.
Well, I was up at
Who's
the
the
crack. I
center
was up.
on the
I was
Jets?
legit up at the crack of dawn, and I had to go pick up my aunt to take her to work. So I'm like, I'm a little tired.
So,
What's the spread of the Jet game again? Does anybody know? I didn't look. At a Jets favored?
yeah, they're favored. The rest of the games, there's only one game where we're not favored, and that's the Bill. That's the Buffalo game.
Ugh.
I don't know why, but anyway, Bobby, real quick, Bobby, if
What's up,
who do
June?
who do you want at quarterback in the draft?
I haven't. I usually don't start looking at college quarterbacks until about week 14, week 15.
Mm-hmm.
That's when college football is, middle. That's when you can start judging who's going to be coming out of the NCAA into the NFL.
Right.
I'm not like a lot of other people who literally, week one, we got to start looking at these college kids. I usually wait till the end of the football, end of the NFL, basically the last 3 weeks of the NFL season to start looking at the draft, because that's when you can start going, that's when the dogs and the kids that showing, hey, I can go the extra mile and be the star of your team. I'm an Oklahoma Sooner guy. My quarterback is doing so hot. He started off well this year. My Sooners were 4-0, and then they went on they lost four straight. It was unbelievable how bad they were losing games. They
Mm.
finally won against a bad team this week. You know, it comes
Bobby, are you
down
in
to
favor? Bobby, a question for you. Are you in favor of them blowing it up? Mara blowing it
I've
up
been in
and
favor
firing
of
Shanahan?
you can ask Petey this. I've been saying the Giants have been having to blow it up for the last 3.5 years. And that's I'm very adamant. I think the Mariners need to sell the organization. You know, They can't. This
Well, they're
isn't
Never
not.
gonna
Jordan.
happen.
Neither are the Giants and the
Never gonna
I know
happen.
those never will. But it's been
Never
over
gonna happen.
what? We haven't been to the Super Bowl since 2011. You know, this team had a chance to go on a tear back into but we need a quarterback. I think this team needs fresh blood in the office. We need somebody who
But
understands.
Joe Shane did that. Literally after his first year,
Yeah,
he
but
tore down the entire scouting department. Fired Chris Snee, fired a lot of the guys that were there for forever.
look what he
And
did though. He gave Daniel Jones that contract. You got to remember that he gave Jones the extension that we should have never given him. But the Giants need to blow it up. They need to and I mean by blow up, it's scorch earth. Everybody's gone, from the top of the organization all the way down to the guy that works in the cleaning room.
I like the way
Has to
you're
go.
talking, brother. I like the way you're
I don't.
talking.
I don't know about that.
What you
can't operate.
mean?
You can't operate an organization
This
that
team.
way. You can't run a business that way.
Well, when your organization, like the New York Football Giants, has been struggling
And
to
Jets.
win more than, let's say, three games a year, your quarterback is inept, your running is inept, your defense, even though they keep you in football games, it can be inept. There needs to be a whole. It needs to be a whole new
Bobby, the
fresh.
one thing that is constant is hiring and firing. They hire and fire. There's no consistency.
But that's why what I'm saying is you go scorch earth. Everybody's gone. You bring in people. You start going out. You stop going out and bringing in the old dogs, the guys
I
that have been
wonder
in,
if I
playing
wonder if
50.
Belichick or Vrabel would come here to the Giants.
I don't want Belichick. I don't want Belichick. Belichick is too far. Look at his last couple years in New England. He could not even get a young quarterback going. He can't. He could go be an analyst on with ESPN and CBS and go hang out with Tom Brady in the
He,
booth
he-
for all I
he's going
care.
to be the Cowboy head
He
coach
can't
next
be.
year. He's going to be the Cowboys head coach.
Oh, he's gonna make the Cowboys worse, which is gonna be fine for me because I hate the Cowboys. But the Giants have to go from complete scorched earth, bring in new players, bring in a whole new regime, a whole new, and you go from there. You let these guys build their team. You do not let Mara. You don't let Joe Shane. Joe Shane can do it, but Mara needs to stay out of it. The whole Mara family just needs to shut their
You
mouths.
like Joe Shane? I mean,
Well,
I
here's
just
the
want to
thing.
know.
No, I don't want Joe
Okay,
Shane. I think Joe Shane, he's getting
okay,
fired. I think the end of this
okay,
year.
Yeah,
okay.
I think him,
C Webb,
Dayball,
you think so
that
too?
I think they're gone at the end of this year. I actually think they might be, if they lose in the next couple of weeks,
I,
they're all going to be
I
gone.
don't think they're gonna. I
I
don't
think
think they're
we
gonna
might
be
be
going.
seeing Dable get
but
fired.
why did the why did the
At,
owner why did the owner
I don't think they're gonna be
endorse them
fired.
then?
I really don't.
But why did the
Unless
owner
some.
endorse them?
Yeah.
because he has no other choice.
Yes, he does.
He has no other choice.
Yeah, he does.
And because our owner's nuts.
Well, speaking of that, I
Well,
wonder
I'm
what.
running in the
Hold on
Dunkin'
here.
real quick to go
Yeah,
get
I
some
wonder
food.
what happened. I see Jeff fans saying that Woody, may now go back to, doing what he's doing. I don't know if I see that happening. Woody's like 70 something years old, almost. He'll be 80 in a year and a half, 2 years.
Well, does he have any kids,
Yeah.
Petey?
Yep.
Like maybe he'll have it. I don't want to use the G word, but maybe he'll bring in his. Well, does he have a son or daughter? I don't know. I
Son,
apologize.
Brick.
Hey,
Brick
he's
Johnson.
gonna bring in Brick.
Yeah, but he's not gonna. He's not gonna. Wait.
I can
He's
make a
not gonna
joke and
run.
call. Is he built like a brick
Brick is
house?
not gonna.
Is he a brick
Come
house?
on. He's not gonna run the team. It'll be Chris Johnson, and I don't know if that's a good thing, honestly.
Well, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm running in the Dunkin' Donuts. I'll talk to you guys in
All
a
right,
bit.
brother.
Peace. Enjoy the rain.
See ya.
Enjoy this weather. It's supposed to be 80 degrees today. If you're on the East Coast, it's supposed to be 80 degrees today. It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, let's. June. This is a must-win for the Jets. So, I mean, it feels like the Jets have been off
Yeah,
forever.
I mean,
This is a nice little bye, to be
I
honest.
mean,
But
I mean,
it feels
yeah,
like the
but
Jets
that
haven't
could
played in
also be
forever.
Yeah,
So
but
maybe they
that
get
could
healthy.
also be a
Hopefully
bad
this
thing.
rest helps. I just hope they don't come out flat.
Yeah, but now see that's the
Like
problem
they
right
do
there
usually
because
in the Jets era.
can you hear me, Petey? Hello?
I can't hear anybody.
Buckeye, can you hear me?
Yes.
So Pete, you gotta tell Petey he gotta drop force close
Hello?
or whatever. Pete,
Petey, can you hear June? I don't think you can hear anybody.
he can't hear nobody. Well, you ready to tear it down yet, Buck?
What's that?
I see you ready to tear it down yet?
Nah. Nah. We're going to take care of business in Arizona, and renewed optimism begins to have hearts broken in week 16.
Look, I'm the first person to sit there and say I assume we gonna go on a little run. Now, if we win this game against the Cardinals, I could see the run and I could see us actually being in playoff contention. But let's say we lose. Let's say we lose two of the next three games, and our playoff hopes is shot is out of here. Are you with tearing it down?
The problem is, I think Rogers is coming back no matter what, right? So if Rogers is coming
Yeah,
back, you
yeah.
can't tear it down. Like it's counterproductive. You can't have Aaron Rodgers sitting there with a sell-off.
And not if he looks good either, because if the Jets defense is the reason why they lose, I'd say you revamp the defense. You give him what he was supposed to have when they were convinced him to come here, which is a dominant defense and a slightly above game manager role, and you see where it goes. I mean, they crippled their defense with what they did in the offseason and not getting Reddick in the door. It was not.
I
I mean,
definitely
I
agree
didn't
with you on
understand.
that. I agree with you on that, Lawrence. Okay, so this is my next question. If we if we're in the playoff hunt but don't make it, do you bring back Ulbrich?
I think the whole staff goes, and you talk to Ulbrich, see who he would have as candidates for his coaching staff. You weigh it against what their actual potential would be with that staff, and then you bring him in like as if he's off the street. Interview him along with the other candidates and see who is going to fit. And you have, you know what I mean? Hate to say it's not like you give Rodgers control, but you at least run the names by like other players. Like, is this someone like their style? You got to see if the schemes would match what the players are capable of. Because Rodgers, they're saying that he's not willing to do that. The way he's been coming out in press conferences, you could tell that he's going to be willing to work with coaching. He's been getting more. He's been getting better about it. The whole thing with Downing,
Yeah.
that you've seen it here and there, but maybe that's because you got a guy calling the same exact play, or he's not sending out the personnel necessary, and that could be frustrating. If you got a dime package out there and they send out your fucking two or three tight end set for uh, not a run play, that would be a good situation. But then you got a three wide receiver set with a play action pass. They're already set up to cover you know what I mean? Shit like that.
June, you're a
I
Knicks
could
fan,
see how
right?
it could get frustrating, but these past couple this last game, dude, it looked like it was right on. Like the plays came in fast. Rodgers was doing right back to what he was doing normally. I don't know how much the injuries that he has was an influence on that or what, but he looked like Rodgers in that second half. In the first half, it's almost like he was a little giddy. He was throwing it fast. He's a little bit what do they call that? Yipped up. And in the second half, it all calmed down and fuck, dude, that thing looked great.
June, you're a Knicks fan, right?
Big Knicks fan,
Do,
yes,
do,
sir.
do you remember when each of those coaching changes happened and Herb Williams was everyone's assistant coach? Like Herb just was part of a like he wouldn't like he was always going to be assembled to whatever coach we hired. Larry Brown. Yeah.
Yes.
So like my question is this: if it's torn down and new coaches, or and let's say Rodgers is staying, I think we can agree, or think Rodgers is staying. So do you want a new coach and Hackett has to be a part of the plan? What if it's the Herb Williams
No,
thing that?
I
no,
think Hackett's gone.
Well, I don't
no.
think so. I think if Rodgers is here, Hackett and I'm not saying his offensive
Yeah,
coordinator
yeah,
gets
but
shit
he won't be
failed,
in the.
but I do think
Uh,
if you're going to rotate names, but Hackett has to be in the building because the Jets have a history of this too. That defensive coordinator,
Good morning, everyone.
yeah, that DC
Good morning,
Greg,
T.
whatever Greg something.
Shit,
Greg Williams.
man, that shit last night,
Wait,
that shit
wait, wait, wait,
crazy.
wait, wait, wait. Hold on, T. Go ahead, Buck. What'd you
Yeah,
say?
what was the DC we had? Greg who?
Greg
Yeah,
Williams.
Greg, bro. we hired a new coach and just attached Greg Williams to him. It's just the
Yeah.
Jets do this shit. So if we're gonna get, let's say Vrabel, if you're gonna get Vrabel and just attach him to, well, you got to take him and him, then forget that. Forget it, man. I don't want that.
Dude, Hackett doesn't have a real role, dude. He's a guy that gave him a coloring book and sat him in the booth, and then here you go, buddy. You could still say
If
you're a
he's on
part of
the
the team.
team, he
They
has a
gave him a
role.
coloring book.
If he has a team, he's on the roll. That's. You know, he's not in the booth.
They literally
You and
said
I.
he's filling, like drawing up cards or something like that. Remember that during the press conference? They actually said that, whether he's drawing up cards or he's going and motivating the guy. Like, dude, yeah, go team. You mean being a fan, a paid fan? That's what that sounds like.
The Jets are known for doing shit the wrong way. Always.
But Rogers already showed his willingness for the change. He said he pretty much gave us a heads up that it was coming. I'm open to whatever changes
So why
Oberg
didn't
wants
they
to make. I
fire
think
Hackett?
if they do,
Why didn't they fire him then?
they offered him. They said, "All right, you could either be fired or you could stay here and be around your boy, and we won't say that we fired you, but you don't have this job anymore."
Yeah, that's not
That's what
firing
that.
someone.
Well,
That
I can't see him being here next year if they, especially if the offense looks bad towards the end of the year, and it was on there in flood. I think Woody fucked this whole team, this fan base, everybody by not doing this clean break with Salah when you got Rodgers and you saw that he got hurt, and then how Salah just kind of slowly he emotionally evaporated from the sideline. He just stopped being a person. He looked like a robot out there, and he'd always say the dumbest things at press conferences,
The
and
dumbest.
it turned people against him in that locker room. That whether they're willing to admit it or not, that it affects you when you're around somebody. It's just it seems like he doesn't care. Why am I going to care and shit like that? They say the team never quit on him. The defense never quit on him. That's all. That's all I can say. The offense, dude. There was plays I was looking at them like after he especially like subbed out Zach and he pretty much was saying how Zach sucked. All that came to light. You got the offensive line. These guys just stand up with their hands down on some plays and they let Zach get murdered. And then you can hear it. Even though they had mic'd up in the Giants game, you could hear the guys like, "Are you even pushing me?" Mind you, it's Dexter Lawrence saying that, but still, dude, it's their effort. What wasn't there? That's something where I think you have this same exact team, and you gave them a good coaching staff that holds people accountable. Would take Clemens out of the game every time, dumb penalties, and people things like that. As opposed to, oh no, that's my boy. We're cool. Like we hang out on the weekends. He cooked me chicken the other day. I'm gonna leave him out there even though he sucks. No, get him off the field, bro. And
That's
fucking hold people accountable, and people see that, and then they're motivated and they work together. Olbrich's got that, but I think if you keep him,
no,
he needs an assistant head coach or
no.
something like that.
Listen, as much as I want to see Old Brick succeed, he is not a disciplinarian coach.
No,
He's another player's coach. I think the next successful coach in New York will have to be a disciplinarian, one who hold people accountable. Don't care
I
who you
I
are.
do like Vrabel, but I also like Mike McCarthy, dude. I think I know it looks real shitty with the Cowboys right now, but they have absolutely no running game, and everything revolves around two players on offense, and the defensive players that it revolves around are hurt. So I think Mike McCarthy was handed a shit hand, and he's been a good coach. And wasn't he the one there when Rodgers won the Super Bowl last time?
Yes, he was. And look, it's funny you even mentioned him because I just said it yesterday that somehow I see that happening.
Yeah, I think it would be a good thing. That obviously Rodgers would be cool with his offensive scheme. I think he's an offensive coach. He doesn't mind calling his own plays. I even wouldn't mind if fucking you took him and you brought him in, and if he wanted Ulbrich as a defensive coordinator, so they didn't have to change up personnel too much to accommodate a new scheme, if that's what happened.
I'd be cool with that, and then make him assistant head coach, whatever. But all new staff, dude. I don't want to see this Keith Carter motherfucker anymore. Any of that shit. I hate this guy. The team looked its best when they had literally the people that had no practice at certain positions playing those positions. That means the guys that were supposed to be good at those positions, that was their designated position, they're getting taught wrong because if a tackle could come in and play better than the guy that's been practicing at guard, mind you, ceilings and floors and all that shit. But I mean, you're going to tell me Olu can come in and just play a position he's never played before and look good at it?
Lawrence,
Mainly
let's
because
go
he
to
hasn't
smoke.
practiced
Lawrence,
that
let's go to
position, so he went off of what he was thinking, not what he was taught,
Lawrence.
because he wasn't
We
taught
got
that.
hands. Let's go to smoke.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How y'all
What's
doing
what's
today?
going on, Smoke? How you
Ain't
doing,
nothing.
brother?
Man. Hey, I came up because y'all was talking like coach. Like there's a came in the room.
Sorry, brother, you went in and out. Say that again.
My bad. Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, I didn't know it went back on mute. I say I'm a Commanders fan, but I'm not gonna hit a boast nothing. But I think like when we're talking coaches, you have to find a coach that can assemble a staff, bro. Like the way Dan Quinn came in, and we got what 3 former head coaches on the staff. Kayla came.
Beautiful.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't
I
know. I just
got you now.
connected to my damn.
I
Okay,
got you
all
now.
right. So yeah, I'm just talking about like how coaches are very important in relationships on getting the staff together. Basically, right now
Yeah.
in the Commanders, we got 3 former head.
Can you guys hear him?
Nah, Smoke. It's like every time he keeps saying 3 former head coaches, keep knocking them out.
Yeah, he cuts out.
And
Kayla, is Kayla a speaker now?
is she Kayla? You still in?
This space is all messed up this morning, man.
Yeah, I don't hear anybody. He just says she's a listener anyway. There's only me, you, Buck, and Pete as speakers right now. Everybody else says listen.
Yeah, no, that's because there's nobody else.
Maybe we would just recycle the space, like end it and restart it. You know.
I think we're gonna have to do that.
I'm gonna drop back, guys.
Can you guys hear me? I just got the
Yeah, I can
space
hear you.
back.
Got you.
All right. I've been trying to force close the space for a while.
Telling you, this app been crazy the last week, bro.
Yeah, I lost it for about 15 minutes here, but I'm back. Can you guys hear me? Got in the
Yeah.
speaker role.
Yeah,
I
I can
mean,
hear you, Pete.
Yep.
listeners, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you could hear me, if you're in the listener section. Please. I know it's on delay, but
I think you should reopen, Petey.
well,
We
wait,
got Will in here.
yeah, he's coming up. Let me see. Yeah, all right. So Mills heard me, so everybody can hear. I'm pretty sure. So, Will, here comes Will. Hey,
Yo,
Will. Good morning. We're having
yo.
X issues with the space. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. I can hear you.
What's going on, Will?
What's up, my guy? How are we?
I'm all right,
Good.
brother. I'm
Will,
all right.
it feels like we haven't played in a month, man. But Will, give me.
Well, it's about to get a lot worse because the Jets play twice in the next 30 days.
Yeah,
So,
I know it's crazy. Hey,
a lot
bro.
of time. A lot of
Sorry.
time for shit posting.
Yes,
Yeah.
Will. Before we go on, so are you a listen? I want to keep on this year, but are you a fan of bringing Rodgers back again next year? Because I think the Jets have no choice but to.
Yeah, I mean, I've never strayed from that. I don't know. I know people got like really frustrated there in the 4-game losing streak or whatever 5-game losing streak. Like, I'm not telling them they're wrong, but to me, the head coach and GM opening is a lot more attractive if you have an extra year of Rodgers where you can try to win. Even if the Jets, I don't know, let's just say they don't get that much better next year, and hey, they finish this year. I don't know. Let's just play the semantics game. If they finish 9-8 or something, or 8-9, whatever. At least next year, a head coach and GM is taking over. Hey, you could draft your quarterback in round 1, right? The new GM, new head coach. He's going to sit and develop for a year. He's going to be on ice. and we're gonna have one more year of Rodgers and Devontae, but we'll read Olu instead of Tyron and Corley instead of Mike Williams or whatever, like around the margins. But at least hey, that head coach and GM kind of builds themselves good faith with the fan base, good faith with ownership. If they could win, I don't know, 9 or 10 games, maybe it's more. I don't know. In year one of that regime, and then Rodgers retires, the cap's in a better situation anyways in 2026 than 25, and that regime has now got maybe a winning season under their belt, and then they get to kind of almost restart over. So I don't know. To me, I don't know where. I guess it's because Rodgers was unhealthy and then wasn't playing as well, and some people kind of lost it on him and turned on him, and I get it. But to me, I just feel like the best thing, it was always going to be 2 years. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a new GM comes in and actually addresses interior defensive line and makes adds another quality receiver. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe they add some of the things that Joe Douglas hasn't added in the past, and the team's better. I don't know, but to me, the job's far more attractive if you have a year built in that you're supposed to be competitive, and then you can almost rebuild it on the fly with your own guys.
Will, let me ask you this question: the next head coach of the Jet,
Yep.
will they be a first-time head coach?
No, is my guess. As of now, I don't think so, but they've just gone down that road before. It feels like the last, last couple of times. 3 of the last 4 or 4 of the last 5 have been?
I mean, it might be 5 of the last 6 when you think about it. I mean, even
Yeah,
Herm Edwards.
the only one that's not was Gase, right?
That's the
Everybody
only
else,
one. That's the only.
since
Everybody
Parcells.
else since Parcells, everybody, Al Groh, Herm Edwards, everybody,
Yeah,
Mangini.
maybe it's time to. I don't know. I personally would throw whatever I needed to at Mike Vrabel and say, "Come here." And you want to talk about changing a culture and kind of establishing something that every year you're going to be competitive. Every year you're going to be at worst. People have this thing in their head. Oh, Mike Vrabel, the last year in Tennessee. Look at that Tennessee roster, man.
Yeah,
They sucked.
yeah.
They traded AJ Brown and chose the GM. The owner chose the GM over him and AJ Brown. And Vrabel is I'll die on my sword. If we trade AJ Brown, I'm done here. And guess what? Man of his word. He was like, yo, I'm out. See ya. But every year, that team was a 1 seed in the AFC with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we do this thing where most of these coaches in the league haven't won Super Bowls. I don't know. We have this everyone has this complex where it's bro, no one in the league, no active quarterback besides Rodgers and Mahomes won a Super Bowl, right? Am I not mistaken? It's there's nobody active that's won all these Super Bowls. So everyone's looking for the Super Bowl winning head coach, winning quarterback and coach, and they don't really exist. So I'd rather have a guy that's highly successful, that's well respected around the league, well respected as players, that develops talent, that's able to, able to get the best out of his group. I think the biggest thing the Jets have lacked is I don't feel like over the last 15 years they've had coaches that have gotten the most out of their talent, right? That's always been a big thing, is developing and then retaining talent as a GM, but then as a head coach, getting the most out of your guys. And a Vrabel type to me signals that a lot more than look. If they go lower budget, they want the offensive guy. Liam Cohen's probably a name I would look at, and some of those type of guys, or I don't know, whoever it may be. But to me, I'd rather go for the guy that the Jets have talent on this roster, and they will have a lot of talent next year as well, right? Most of these guys aren't going anywhere,
Right.
So I'd like to see someone come in and get the most out of guys 36 through 53 on the roster, 22 through 56, and bring the best out of, who's going to come in and get the best out of Sauce? Who's going to come in and get the best out of Brees week in, week out? Who's going to come in and get the best out of AVT or Tippmann or whoever these guys may be? And I'd lean towards a guy maybe that's more of a culture builder, because I don't know, man, the play calling type of thing, I would get the concern, but you would have to think you'd have to trust whoever that head coach is to hire the right guys. Even Saleh, are we sure he didn't hire the right offensive coordinator in LaFleur? Is everyone sure that wasn't just Zach Wilson's horrible
That's a
and the
good
talent
question.
wasn't that good?
That's a good question. We've been
because he's
asking
the
that.
offensive coordinator of the Rams. He's going to get head coaching interviews this year. So was he really the problem? I actually think maybe that was the right hire, and
Yeah.
Woody got
Dude,
trigger
looking
happy
at
because he
that
goes to the
film,
Rams.
man, there's a lot of guys open a lot of the time when we were running his.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
he
Will,
wasn't perfect, and he
yeah.
wasn't perfect. I'm just saying, like, everyone freaked out, like, oh my god, they might lose LaFleur, and like they did, and guess what? Now he's going
Yep.
to be getting head coaching
Well,
interviews.
I
So
said that
maybe it wasn't
yesterday.
the wrong
Yeah,
hire.
Will, I said that yesterday
Yeah,
too.
we
I think
said that.
Lafleur will definitely get coaching
Head
interviews.
coaching interviews.
Will,
Yeah.
let me ask you one thing before we get to the hands, real quick. Will, I've been arguing with Jeff fans constantly on here about because a lot of fans say, "Oh, nobody's going to want to come here." To me, I think that's bullshit. I think coaches will definitely come here, especially if you ante up the money. But to me, like the Jets, it's not an attractive job. Come on, they have a ton of young talent.
Will. Me and PD go back and forth. We do this.
Fair enough.
It's midnight and we do the same thing. Please.
Will mediate this. Let me hear your thoughts. I can't hear you.
There you
There you
go.
are.
You know, are you asking is it an attractive job? Like, what's like the basis of the argument? Like, are you saying it is attractive, and you're saying it's not?
I'm saying
June,
it's
go ahead.
not. He's saying it is. He's saying that just open the checkbook and that don't make it attractive.
Well,
I'm saying in 25 years Woody's never done that, so I expect him to do it
yeah,
now.
but June, let me counteract
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Will,
I would say
my,
he did
go ahead.
for Douglas and Sala. He definitely they gave them some long ass contracts, and they probably held on to those guys too long. In hindsight, like they probably could have cleaned house last off season if they really, you know, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's. Listen, I don't know. Do y'all hear me still or no?
Yeah, we got you.
Uh, I don't think it's like an extremely attractive opening, but I also don't think it's the Saints. I also don't think it's, you know, like I think it's if the Giants were to fire somebody, it's more attractive than the Giants job probably, or like I don't know. You have to go through who's gonna actually get fired, right? I think it's more appealing than maybe the Jags job, just because. Problem with the Jets is it kind of comes down to like, yeah, obviously you're taking on a quarterback potentially for a year, so that's obviously why it's maybe not as attractive. Although, like I mentioned, like I'm not sure it's as big of a hindrance, just because like again, you might be competitive in year one, but I don't think it's like again, I don't think it's a bad job. I don't know if it's like the best job on the market. But I also think like coaches like when the league is comes down to this, like there's 32 jobs, you'll get someone to take your job. I just like New Orleans is like the doom and gloom. It's kind of the Panthers job of last year. Maybe it's not quite as bad just because it's a organization that's has a GM at least in place, but I don't know. Like you look at is Tennessee going to be an opening again? We just don't know what the openings are going to look like. Are the Raiders going to be one and done with Pierce or whatever? So yeah, I think it's a roster with talent. I think it's probably a harder GM. Like it's probably harder as a GM to come in, depending on the stipulations. I think the Jets are going to have to pay up no matter who the candidate is. Like that's just the reality of it. And Woody at times has done it. He's spent a lot of money on the roster. I don't know if the infrastructure on the organization has been as much money spent on, but I don't know. I'd be interested to see like, are they willing to give Rabel, I don't know, whatever amount of $1 million a year to come here?
10 million.
The problem is coaching salaries. I don't. It's hard because they don't really ever publicize how much people actually make. Like Belichick for years was like, oh, Belichick's on a reasonable deal, and then it comes out he was making like 25 million a year, right? So like I don't know the exact number. I think if you look on, you were trying to research it, some Salah somewhere was in the $5 million range, maybe
Yeah,
it's maybe it's not.
it was five. It was 5 million.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like I think like if you bring in a Vrabel type, you kind of have to let him help pick you the GM, just because that's kind of what he's going to want is some type of control.
Hmm.
But I also think if you look at, you bring in a Liam Cohen, I'm just using it as an example, right? Because the Bucks offense has obviously been really fun, and young guy, I think Vetri. You probably have to bring in a GM that complements what he wants to do. You gotta get both these hires right. End of the day, and like in back-to-back. The Jets just haven't really gotten the good pairing right now of the coach that makes sense with the GM that makes sense. Like, I think we all thought Saleh and Douglas probably were, probably the best case, but it didn't work. And, even if they end up winning this year, like, Saleh was unsuccessful as a coach, and Douglas has got the record he's got. It was nice to see him still alive and kicking yesterday, making some type of move. Although, was that Woody or Joe? I don't know, but yeah, I think this is it's a decent opening. I just don't think it's top of market. You don't have like if you're a head coach, it's not like you have a quarterback. I don't know. For example, like the Commander's job was open next year. Like that's an attractive opening, right? Because you have Daniels and you're tied to him. The Jets aren't in that spot, but it's also not the Saints or Panthers or something like that.
Fair enough. Will, I got a couple more for you, but let me get to Lawrence and then Tom. Lawrence, go ahead.
Yeah, I think to go off of what Will is saying, I think it's attractive for the reasons he said. And I mean, really, we have some cap space this year and the next year. The thing that makes it unattractive, and I'll agree with June on this, and what Will was alluding to is Woody. It's a Woody thing. It's based on how much money he's willing to spend, and because if Woody goes away or whatever, he hires a president of football operations. I think the Jets become a very desirable job because that means Woody's not involved anymore. And if Woody's willing to pay up and step back, we could be just as desirable as the next team. We have a lot of young talent, and you could see a lot of our losses and mistakes. It's fixable mistakes. It's coachable mistakes. It's not a lack of talent, a lack of the ability to do it. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you still there? Yeah. But I think it's a lack of not talent issue. It's just a lack of coaching and discipline. If those things were fixed by like a Vrabel or whoever, and you let them get a coaching staff in there that will get this offensive line in order, and the same thing with the defensive line. It's not like these guys don't have talent. Their gap discipline is terrible. You got guys hunting for sacks on obvious run plays, running right by their gap or getting slapped over to the side or lining up 3 on 1 and 1 on the other, and it's just not going to work. You're giving them a run lane by lining up like that. So it's just simple things like that. Those things get fixed, and Rodgers healthy, as long as he doesn't get something crazy happen to him this year. When he's healthy, man, he looks good, and you can tell when he's not because he doesn't. And I think it's as simple as that. Every now and again he has an errant throw where he overthrows it, but the second half of this last game it brought me right back to the New England game where he's actually able to move around, and once he knows it and he feels it and he knows it in his head that he can move around without getting hurt, he starts letting it go. And I think based on our past history with QBs that he is our best shot at anything happening in this next coming year as well as this one. We just have to have the right stuff around with coaching and in the office and on defense.
Thanks. Hey, Lawrence, real quick, do you have a question for Will?
Yeah, my question is, Will, do you see Woody being able to do that? Because I know with this the election and all that stuff, there's a good chance. I don't know if he takes that job or if he even gets it again. But just based on how this year went and how everything that's being said is said, do you think he is going to have a willingness to step back and maybe hire a football operations guy to take care of the football stuff and just step away from being direct?
Maybe, honestly. I mean, look, he got here with Parcells, doing that kind of role, and maybe he sees enough people talking about it on Twitter and, posting in the papers and stuff about it. Maybe he thinks it's his idea and whatever. Yeah, I mean, look, the election thing is going to be interesting because, obviously he's potentially a part of that. I don't have any, and I'm not getting into politics on here, but yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, no, I tried to avoid it too.
I meant like, I don't know. I just don't know, like, is he going to be in Trump's cabinet again? Is he not? Whatever it may be. And then when it comes down to it, like, whether it's Chris, Woody, I don't know, whoever's owning the team, whoever's making the decisions, I'd honestly rather them spend less money on their roster and more money on the infrastructure around the organization in terms of, more and more scouts, more and more people in the front office, more people on coaching staff, more people, getting the right head coach and right GM than anything. But yeah, I mean, look, I think there's a chance that the football operations thing happens. I don't think it's like overly likely, but
you'd have to find the right guy. Like, was it Pete Carroll? Is it, I don't know, somebody else who, hey, come in for 2 years and just like revamp this thing? There's a chance, but again, it's the Jets, and it's hard to, I don't want to get overly optimistic, and then people be let down.
Yeah, that reminds me. Is that true about the ticket sales reps in comparison to front office staff? There's like twice as many people working.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure if it's listed on the site, that's true. I haven't ever asked that or looked into it. But listen, if that's what's out there, then hey, man, that's impressive stuff.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Thanks, man.
Will, I got a couple more for you. Let me get. That
Yeah,
Tom,
was
no, for sure.
funny.
Tom,
Tom,
what's going on,
go
man?
ahead.
Fellas, good morning, everybody. And
Morning.
well, I kind of want to piggyback a little bit on Lawrence in a way, because I actually have a question. Because I've noticed NFL's not like baseball in this regard. Because disclosure, like PD, I'm a Met fan, so we knew for years Steve Cohen was waiting
Yep.
for David Stearns to be able to hire him and stuff. Is there any rumblings, anything that if say Douglas was to go, we should be looking organization-wise at who replaces Douglas? Because
I
that's
mean, I
where
don't.
the
The
Heat.
GM thing's hard, man, because like it's hard to know what organizations. Sorry, what organizations let people, even take other interviews. It's hard to know. Like, there's always candidates that come out of nowhere. Um, but like, no,
Right.
I get your point. The GM thing's going to be really interesting.
Because Douglas was one of
Yeah,
those.
man. Look,
He
the
was one
Douglas
of
thing.
that.
I think there's no chance Douglas is back unless this team really does go on like a 6-2 run or 7-1 run, and they go deeper in the playoffs. Like, it just feels like it's kind of over.
Okay.
But that said, like, who knows? I'd be pretty shocked if, unless this team makes the playoffs, which is in the beginning of the year was the goal, right? It was make the playoffs and try to go on a run. If they miss the playoffs, like, Douglas will be at like 100 plus games as GM and have 30 something wins. I mean, that's obviously not acceptable. No matter, at some point, some of this stuff is on him as well, not just on Salah or Woody. But yeah, I mean, look, I think there's a small chance, I guess, he's back if they go on a run. But generally speaking, um, I think it's likely they go outside the organization for a GM and a new head coach, obviously.
Right. Oh, okay, then. I actually have a related to this upcoming game question for you, because I don't know if you had something planned on your channel regarding the Cardinals game, but what do you think is going to be the key? I'm sorry, forgive me, frog in my throat there.
Yeah.
But what do you think is going to be the key on the Cardinals offense that the Jets have to be concerned with the most?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Because
it's
for the little disclosure,
yeah.
I'm gonna, as I said in the space the other day, a good friend of mine where I live, his brother-in-law is the Cardinals offensive coordinator.
Oh wow,
So
nice.
I'm aware he's prepping for that.
Yeah,
For months, I was hearing it all season with that.
yeah, I think the biggest thing is, it's not just stopping the run; it's kind of stopping the QB run. Most importantly, like, if you keep Kyler in the pocket and don't allow him to make these off-script, off-schedule plays, you'll be in a better spot, right? Like, New England was going to run the ball over them in that second week or third week, and they didn't. Bo Nix, same thing, was going to run all over them. Gave up 9 points or 10 points. So I think it comes down to like tackling well at all three levels. But most importantly, like, you got to keep Kyler from, limit him to not these game breaking plays, and then you hope that the offense scores enough the Cardinals can't just run the football the whole game.
Tom, you
All
good?
right. I'm good, thank you.
All right, cool. Will, just a few more from me. Thanks for joining, man. As always, good to hear from you, man. Will, do you want to keep all these guys? Because there's been another debate. Trade Sauce. Get maximum value. To me, Will, I'm just, I feel like you got to build around these young guys. I know they haven't really won yet, but they're young, man. Like that. This is why I think when people say nobody's going to want to come here, Will, people will. Like, these are cornerstone people, the players to build around. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, the Sauce thing is just really weird. Like, he's just was amazing for 2 years, and he's been like at best average this year. to be kind. The problem with Sauce is like you just hope that like he locks back in. I'd love to see him have a really nice 6-7 weeks here, and kind of like get back to being the player he was, because it's like, yeah, it's just been frustrating. Like he's just not looked as engaged. He's not looked to be the same player. But I also think that you can't ignore the first 2 years either, right? Like Brees and Jermaine are more interesting discussions to me just because of injuries or positional value. You know, is Jermaine's probably more of a $15 million a year player, not 25, 30, and that's fine. He's a Pro Bowl level player. He's never going to be, in my opinion, he's more the Sean Ellis, 7 to 10 sacks a year guy that's good against the run than like what Reddick or some of these other guys are, or McDonald maybe, where it's like, more sacks and things like that. Sorry. Um, Garrett's a no-brainer. I'd extend Garrett as soon as possible because the receiver market's only going to go up and up and up. And, he's a great ambassador for the organization. He's a guy that is well beloved. He's can play inside, can play outside. And, he makes sense. He's will be here for a long time. So, yeah, just that to me, it's like that's a no-brainer. Look, this core is still good, but, the core didn't have a good start to the year. I don't know if they were pressing too much. I don't know what was going on. But you'd like to see them, have a strong finish because you'd like to be able to build around 2021, 2020, 22, 2023's classes. And, obviously Quinnen, Quincy, McDonald, Carter, those are guys that are going to be here. You like to see decides with Reed, decides, got to decide on safety, decide on Sauce at some point. I would assume Sauce is still here. But hey, I don't know. You never know. If some team came to you with a million different draft picks, maybe it's tempting. But again, he's a top 5 pick that's been a 2-time All-Pro in 3 years, and at an elite position, it'd be kind of hard to watch that guy walk out of the building.
Will, is there any chance DJ Reed's back next year, or no chance at all?
No, maybe they tag him.
That's what I was going to say, but that's what, 20-something million, right?
Yeah, or maybe you work out a 1+1 deal with him. When they paid Carter, it was kind of like, we're not going to pay you long term, and I don't blame them. A third contract for a 5'9" corner is not smart. It's not smart business, but at the same time, he's had a really nice year. They didn't trade him, yesterday, and so, again, I was outspoken that I would have traded him in the offseason for like a second-round pick and use that to draft another guy and just kind of restart the clock, but they didn't do that. He's had a really nice year. But yeah, maybe you tag him, maybe you tag and trade him, maybe you do a 1+1 type of deal. I don't know. I think that he's well liked here, obviously, and he's a really good player. But you're not going to pay Reed, Sauce, and Carter all on terms. So, unless they decide to move on from Sauce, I would say like I would say 50-50 Reed's here, and it's mostly around the tag, or again maybe like a 1+1.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do a poll. I don't know when, but right now in November, beginning of November, would you extend Jermaine Johnson's 5th-year option when it comes down to May? When it comes up in May?
Probably not. I don't know. I got to see what his Achilles looks like. It's like it's not a. I don't know, man. It's not like an insult to him. It's just like Carl Lawson was like never the same guy, like not even close. And so I don't know, but maybe it's just because he had more injuries beforehand. Who knows? But I think I think that's one you can wait on. In my opinion, I don't know. I'd have to see what the 5th-year option would look like numbers wise. They just did it with AVT coming off an Achilles, and he's already hurt, right? So,
yep. Will, I looked at it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, real quick.
No.
I did look at it. Jason had it up from Over the Cap. Shout out to him. It's 14 and change.
Maybe.
Because,
maybe.
Will, you can't. He's not going to play.
Yeah.
You got to pick it up by May. So what are you going to do? Look
Yeah,
at him.
no, you're
not
right.
being sarcastic.
Well, no, it's going to come down to the Jets know their guy better than anybody, right? They're going to know what his medicals look like. They're going to know these different things. So if they feel confident about the medicals, yeah, you pick it up and you have him here for another 2 years at least, and you go from there. Maybe you extend him. After that, maybe he comes back and he's amazing, and he comes back and he's a 12 sack a year guy that you can't let leave. Maybe he comes back and he's a shell of himself, and it's like you got to eat the money for 1 year. So yeah, I guess you would. I mean, it just sucks because you can't evaluate what he's going to look like on the field, but they'll have a much better idea, I'm sure, by that time frame.
One of the last ones for me. Well, does this New York Jet team make a run this year?
I mean, everyone knows I'm pretty optimistic with this stuff. If they win this weekend, which I think they do, but again, who knows? If they win this weekend, I think you're staring at them at 6-6. I think going into that Miami game, this feels like a team that this week and last week were the make or break. Like in a way of like, if they can build on last week, which they haven't, the last time they had a really nice win on Thursday night, Rodgers looked good. They couldn't build on it. If they do this time, I'm sorry, Indianapolis doesn't really scare me. They're a terrible defense that has a statue at quarterback, and that's at home. You feel like you should win that. You have 2 weeks off to get healthy. Maybe that's when you get Lazard and AVT and Rodgers fully healthy, Michael Carter fully healthy, Sauce fully healthy, all these guys, and then you got Seattle coming, West Coast to East Coast for a 1 o'clock kickoff. Gino just looked like a shell of himself. So I'll say they do, but I don't know if they make it. There's a path they go 10-7. There really is. There's also a path they finish 7-10, 8-9, and you're sitting there going, if we just won 2 of those 4 games that we very much were the better team, we're looking at it differently, and you're kind of in that ballpark of like the what if game. I hope that it's not to that point, but we'll see. Obviously, I would say I like. I think I think they'll at least get to 8 wins. I don't know if they get to 9 or 10, but I feel like 8 wins probably is the most likely.
Do you think 9-8, not for the Jets, but just in general in the AFC, makes it?
Yeah, I think 9. I think honestly, there's a chance multiple 9-8 teams make it. Like, just look at some of the schedules. Like, Cincinnati's probably going to win 8-9. Indy's going to probably win 7 or 8. The Jets will probably win between 7 and 9. Maybe it's more. Again, the Chargers are probably right around 9. The Bengals are probably right around 8 or 9. The Broncos are probably right on 8 or 9. The Steelers' schedule gets way harder. Maybe they end up only with 9. Like, this has a feeling of like 2 teams maybe get in at 9 wins, and the NFC, same thing.
Fair enough. Will, thank you. I'll let you go. I appreciate you. We appreciate you, and thanks for coming on. We'll
thanks
talk
for
to you
having
soon.
me as always.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I just gotta run this past Will before you leave. My dream scenario as a staff is Mangini as GM and Brian Flores as head
Ooh,
coach.
interesting.
Yeah,
Um, I won't say you're crazy. I don't think that's like an insane take. I I'm very curious what happens with Mangini in terms of like, does he ever even get a shot again? He now that Belichick's no longer in that coaching circle and whatnot. Um, I don't know. It'd be interesting, man. Though here's my one fear, and I have this fear with Rex, and I have this fear with Mangini, or any of those kind of like even the Gruden's of the world, etc.
okay.
Like when you're out of football for long enough, when you're just not doing it day in day out, what what's the it's hard to get back to to where you were. Like I'm not saying it's impossible. I just have some worries about like you know going from not being in the league for what's Mangini almost 15 years out
Yeah.
to fully GMing. I would have no problem bringing these guys in the organization, right?
Right.
And if Rodgers is a 1 year thing and you can't get Vrabel and these other guys, and you're gonna get a good GM, and Rex is gonna have to just be like the rah guy. I'm not opposed, but I also feel like I need to know who's his OC, what's the plan. Like, just on a vacuum, like I don't think I'd be like down for it. But at the same time, as I just mentioned, like there's a path to a lot of these different things. Flores is not a bad shout. I'd be really interested in how he would interact with the New York media. It was not great in Miami. But maybe he's learned from that, and maybe he's a guy that with a second shot's going to be the guy. I kind of think everyone was thinking he was going to be in Miami. He had success there,
Yes.
but so I don't know. Yeah, man, like I don't think that's a bad call at all. I said it, the Vrabel, Pete Carroll, Josh McCown type combo would be awesome. But
Mm.
again, I don't even know if that's remotely realistic.
So wait, Will, before now one more before I let you go. Sorry, is that okay?
Yeah, no, you're good. I'm just meal prepping.
Nice. Eat
Oh,
clean, bro. You ever hear of
yeah, no,
that?
that place is good. That place is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Will, so do you see like the Jets holding on to some of the staff members, like a Marquell
So I
guy,
don't. My question would be
Tony
like,
Onan?
depends on who they bring in. It like, who do they bring in at DC or who they bring as the head coach? Because like, if they keep the same system, I'd love to keep some of those guys. They're really good coaches. They know the roster. You always want to have a little bit of continuity, but if Salah gets somehow another job or a DC job, maybe he brings them with him, or Albert goes somewhere else, he brings somebody with. You know what I mean? Like that's the one place I would say like it might be difficult, but there's certainly an avenue in which I could see, even if it's just like I'd love to keep Tony Oden, I'd love to keep some of these guys. It's just going to come White Cotton. It's just going to come down to like what defenses they end up running, because obviously there's a lot of nepotism in the NFL, and any sport, and people want to roll with their the guys that they kind of always have rolled with.
Have you tried the Aaron Rodgers, Thomas Morstead
I've
water?
tried it before. That I had tried it before. I eat cayenne pepper a lot. Um, God bless Aaron Rodgers and Thomas Morstead's toilets after drinking that. Cayenne pepper runs right through you, so it definitely reduces inflammation. And honestly, like all jokes aside, like listen, them drinking that makes me a lot happier than doing a bunch of weird drugs and doing a bunch of shit like that. Like they're they're drinking a seasoning. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Who cares? Like if it rally cries the Jets, so be it. That's awesome. And if it doesn't work, it is what it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm too whatever. But yeah, I mean like great job. And then you ate a seasoning people put on their chicken. Like nice. Good job.
Will, great way to
Of
close
course,
this
man.
one out.
Of
Thanks,
course,
man.
man. Enjoy
Appreciate you,
enjoy
man.
the rest of the
Have a
week,
great
everybody,
day.
and hopefully next time on here the Jets are in a much better playoff spot.
Yes, sir.
See ya.
Thanks, Will. June, you
Yeah, I'm
there?
right here. Thanks again, Will. I
Yeah, I've
appreciate
been.
you, brother.
Yeah, guys, follow Will Parkinson. June, I've been having trouble with this, and I'm going to close early. I need a little bit of a break, so I'm going to close the
Yeah, that's
space.
fine.
Guys, if you're on YouTube, we're on YouTube Live. Please follow Jets Commute. We're coming out with shorts. Subscribe. We're going to do a giveaway at some point, a live giveaway. I'm working on something. So subscribe to Jets Commute on YouTube. We would appreciate it. Shout out to the listeners that are in here a lot. Thank you for coming in. We'll be back. Have a great day. Go
Hold
Jets.
on, hold. You know what it's time for. Parting words. Today's parting words is tear it down.